When my shocking 23andMe results aren't simultaneously validating all the PewDiePie comparisons I get, while also invalidating any legitimacy I have towards making a Celtic album. I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Dang, I might have just earned some new respect for the strings we have now. Haha, great Q&A as always, man. Although I do have a question, who is your favorite celebrity who you were shocked to find out plays guitar or has some musical talent? A lot of great musicians out there who are also actors or actresses or whatever. One of the shocking ones for me was Sarah Hyland from Modern Family was in a video with my dudes from Boyce Ave. I remember just seeing the thumbnail. I'm like, is that the girl from Modern Family? Apparently she's a nasty singer. Robert Downey Jr. has an album called The Futurist that is really good. I'm going to link you to one of the songs there because he's a fantastic singer. I think a lot of people are always shocked by the Steve Martin thing playing banjo, but everybody kind of knows that by now. I do remember back in the day, I was a huge Phantom Planet fan. They were one of my favorite bands, and Rushmore was my favorite movie, so I was straight up shook to find out that Jason Schwartzman was actually in the band Phantom Planet at that time. But my number one shocking musical celebrity experience was finding out that Steven Seagal had a blues band. So me and my buddies in college and high school were like super in to the irony of Steven Seagal movies, and my buddy Jared found out that his blues band was playing in Chicago. So we got a bunch of tickets. I think we got like 8 tickets, but we only had 7 people come. So we had this extra ticket that we could not give away. Eventually we just gave it to a homeless person in Chicago, and I think he even actually stood the show up. But what I remember about the Seagal Blues Band was we got there super early. We were front row. His band was actually like nasty, like incredible musicians in the band. And Seagal, could play blues guitar. Like I'm not really gonna hate on him. Like he was doing what he was doing, but it was just so surreal seeing kind of like a pudgy, sweaty Steven Seagal just shredding blues licks literally this far away from me. The funniest thing was, in every blues concert, they have a thing where they try to get you to clap along. I've never really been a clap along concert goer, so I was just kind of just vibing, enjoying the show. Seagal was trying to get everybody to clap. I wasn't having it. So Seagal straight up came to me and just looked at me and intimidated me until I started clapping along with him. So that is my claim to fame, is that I was intimidated into clapping along by Steven Seagal. After that, there was a meet and greet where, you can kind of shake hands with the legend himself, maybe get a picture. And I will forever be salty about this because I took the picture of my buddy Jared with Seagal, which ended up being like a great family heirloom for generations to come. Meanwhile, we were supposed to hand the camera back, this is before like cell phone cameras, hand the camera back for the next person to go up, get the picture, go on, so on and so forth, right? But I take the picture, give it to Jared, then while I'm meeting Seagal, he's reviewing the picture that I just took, and I actually didn't even get a chance to get a picture of it, so there's no evidence that I actually did meet Steven Seagal. But yeah, Steven Seagal is my answer for most shocking celebrity blues legend. August 2019, teaching chords without posting the actual chord shapes on screen for free, unsubscribed. Advice 2019. Check out Cover Solutions. Now, that's what being gracious is all about. The selfishness of not posting chords and tabs on screen for everybody for these free YouTube videos. I'm really sorry. Thank you for the 2019 advice. Hopefully I can incorporate it into the videos for the rest of the year. When and where will we be able to buy the album? Looking forward to listening to the entire album. This is in response to the Emerald Ryder premiere that I had, which of course I was stupid enough to do the YouTube premiere thing, which is like the #1 way to get nobody to watch the video. So I'm gonna link this again because Ian and I were on a radio show where we did the world premiere of the first Emerald Ryder track, which is my Celtic band, which is more of like a Swedish band now, but whatever. I thought it still turned out pretty good. Hopefully, I'm going to finish this album the next month here, and it'll be up soon. It's going to be on Spotify and iTunes and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do physical releases of it, because no one will buy them. So, if I get an overwhelming response in the comments, it's like, please, Emerald Ryder's physical release, then I'll consider. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of where you can get everything. But how does the Orangewood neck feel to play? I absolutely love how the Taylor feels to play and paired with the Martin retro strings. Man. So this is in response to the video I did shooting out the Orangewood Sage with the Taylor GA3. I really just did a sound test on that. It wasn't about the actual action of it. Now, the action, I will say, for the Orangewood is really fantastic. It's definitely lower action than the Taylor. The Taylor has higher action than I'm used to, but I'm also kind of biased because I've played the Taylor for so much longer as my main guitar that it just feels a little different. not in a bad way, just in a different way. So in my opinion, I think the GA3 still plays better, but the Orangewood is right there, specifically at a fraction of the price. Now, it has been brought to my attention that maybe that the one that they sent me, because I got a stage ahead of time, is set up a little bit differently than ones other people get. So again, if you have an Orangewood, let me know what you think as far as the action goes, but the one on this is absolutely fantastic, and I definitely recommend it. Great lesson, your D'Angelico guitar sounds amazing. Question, progressions have shorthand names based on the intervals. From the F major perspective, this might be called a 5-2-3, but I bet it isn't. What would a musician call this progression? Really fun lesson, full of cool things to unlock the fretboard. So this is in response to the lesson from Monday, where it was like a D minor to an A minor to a G minor progression. So you can see that in the key of D minor. Now, every musician I've ever played with will number chord progressions based on the major scale. So even though this is in the key of D minor is the relative minor in the key of F. So again, with some exceptions out there in the world, in my personal experience, everyone would call this a 6-3-2 progression in the key of F. Now, if you did go by the D minor scale, whereas D was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then number your intervals that way, then you'd have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so like a 1, 5, 4 progression, something like that. But again, in my experience, everybody just numbers chord progressions for communication purposes via the major scale. I have a hard time focusing, but when I do focus, it's like I'm hyper-focused only on one scale for hours. Do you ever have that problem or get students with that problem? Totally. Have a bunch of students like that. The funny thing about like teaching is when you have a student who maybe is hyper-focused on just like doing a scale, you don't really want to interrupt them. Like if they just want to practice like a scale for 30 minutes uninterrupted, and I know for a fact that they kind of have a hard time focusing, I almost kind of think it's my job just to kind of sit there and just like watch them do it. Because I know from firsthand experience that like really when you want to practice something, focus is one of the hardest things to do. So even for me, like I'll be like, all right, I'm going to practice arpeggios or something for a half hour. And then I just end up jamming to songs or something like that. Now, at the end of the day, I think as long as you have the instrument in your hand and you're practicing something, you're getting value out of it. But I do understand what you mean. And that kind of focus can be hard to come by. So again, at the end of the day, just kind of set out goals. Like I always say, just set out goals for what you want to do. And if you really aren't achieving your goals, even though you're practicing it, then it probably is time to really just hit the shed and just be like, all right, I am for sure going to practice this for 10 minutes. Make yourself do it. But my philosophy on learning an instrument is to always just make it fun. Everybody learns differently. But really, focus is one of the hardest things to do. So however you can get yourself motivated to focus, that's what you got to do. For listening homework, I'm going to throw you to a cool indie feeling band called Big Thief. Definitely a big fan of them. They got some new music coming out, so check that out in the description below. And then feel free to consider taking a masterclass by either me and Justin or me and Ian, because still keeping those on sale for a little while. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.